Hunger is a chronic problem and not an emergency anymore, because by acknowledging that, it acknowledges that we need to change our approach. Hunger is only worse than it was 35 years ago. So we know that simply receiving food and redistributing food, even if we're rescuing it, even if it's nutritious, we know that that's not truly ending hunger. It's simply putting a Band-Aid on the problem. And while that's important work, it doesn't enable us to fulfill our mission. Our mission is to end hunger. So I think that the first step there, and the biggest challenge we face, is saying that food banking, as it's worked historically, as it works today, doesn't end hunger, and we need to take a step beyond it.
The reality is that no one ever woke up hungry on any given day without having had something else in their life go awry prior to that. That again, hunger is the symptom. It is not, it's not the root cause.
So for us, a food hub is, at its basics, is the aggregation and then redistribution of food, right? It's a center around food. And what's unique about us is that we are willing to try different distribution models in order to reach our customers. So we identify barriers to our customers, and then our programs are aimed at overcoming those barriers so that we can start bridging opportunities for access of people that otherwise would not have had access to the type of food we make available.
1 mile, it may only seem like a short amount of time for people writing the stuff in the USDA, but 1 mile is an absolutely inconquerable barrier for some people that have certain physical ailments or that lack transportation. So yes, they may live in a neighborhood that has a grocery store within 0.8 miles, but does that mean that they're food secure? Does that mean they have high food access? Our argument would be no. And that's why we bring the curbside market, for example, directly to these Rochester Housing Authority sites to give elderly and disabled folks who live on public housing, who have SNAP, who have farmers market nutrition program checks. We bring them directly a farmers market, a farmers market to go on wheels, so they can come, they can shop, they can feel the produce they want, they can touch it, they can smell it, we let them sample it, and then at the end of the day, when we're about to leave, they get to go back upstairs to their unit with a bag or two full of fresh, affordable, local fruits and vegetables, and it didn't cost them an arm and a leg. And that's truly how the Food Hub programs are bridging the gap between what the USDA calls the food desert and what the reality is.
One of our accomplishments that we like to share is the Wayne County Apple story, where we have had a partnership for a long period of time with the Cooperative Extension in Wayne County, and have looked and explored things that we could do with that community.
Cornell Cooperative Extension did research that showed that children are more likely to eat apples if they are sliced. And that's true for me. I'm more likely to eat the apple if it's sliced. And so CCE went out to the food service directors in Wayne County and said, how do you feel about this? Like, why don't you start slicing your apples? And the food service directors really looked at their capacity, staffing and bandwidth, and they said, we don't have labor and we don't have capacity to source locally from Wayne County farmers, because we can't have totes of apples coming in off the farms, not washed, sitting in our parking lot, delivered by a truck, and then it be our responsibility to wash and slice these apples. We don't have the capacity to do it.
So here we come, and we are sourcing apples from that very farmer that is the largest taxpayer in the district, bringing them back to our kitchen, using that infrastructure when it's not being used as the kitchen, putting another shift on that was then paying people to be able to do the apples, getting those apples in a bag, and then delivering them not only back to that school district that the apples came out of, but to each of the schools in the district.
So the Wayne County Apples is just a classic example of how a third party is needed. A food hub is this necessary resource for our region to connect. We have all the resources at our disposal here. We have the farmers, we have the fresh fruits and vegetables, we have the kids in school or the families who are in need of these fresh fruits and vegetables, but we need an intermediary, an organization that can connect the two, that even if it just means washing and slicing apples, something as simple as that, that to me is rebuilding the food system from the ground up.
Since hunger is only the symptom, that the better stewardship of having these millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of food-related assets is to use the excess capacity of them on a more 24/7 basis to create wealth, to create other opportunities, to impact on what the real problem is, which is a lack of wealth creation, as opposed to using them 5 days a week, 8 hours a day to impact on the symptom of hunger, and then just like let them sit there for the other remaining time, just laying idle, just not being able to use that kitchen the other 12 to 14 hours a day, not using those trucks for the other 12 to 14 hours a day. That just doesn't seem like good stewardship when, again, the problem is bigger than just not having food today. So if we can use our assets to help grow a regional food economy to be more vibrant, and that vibrancy creates more wealth opportunities, more jobs for people, then some people that have been lining up, queuing up in lines to get emergency food have the best social program in the world. They have a job.
It's not just a warehouse and it's not just a fleet of trucks, but it's really a whole communion of programs and initiatives and different special projects that are all have one thing in common, and that's food. So whether it's nutrition education, where we are training little kids on how to identify a ripe fruit and how to use a knife to slice that fruit, or whether it's workforce development, where we're training individuals for careers in food industry, or whether it's the curbside market that is going around to neighborhoods day in and day out selling fresh fruits and vegetables. Everything that we do is a response to some community need, and in effect is there to make the community better.
If we can make sure that everyone who's eating apples is eating Wayne County apples, and everyone who's eating potatoes is eating Genesee County potatoes, that is true economic development. The other prong to this two-pronged approach is public health. If we can make sure that everyone has opportunity to eat local foods that are healthy foods, then we're really going to impact on the public health of our community in all 10 counties. So it's those two things, economic development and it's public health, that really make the food hub and fresh produce specifically a really important driving factor in what we do.
I think Foodlink is in a unique position as a 501c3 to run this food hub because we have a higher calling and a higher mission, because we're responding to the needs of our community, not only those that need our services, but those who have supported us over the years financially or by volunteering or just giving of their time and talents. And so they hold us to a higher standard, and they enable us to not just run a food business where we're selling to the person who's going to pay the highest amount for this food, but to really think about how does every single thing we're going to do, how does every aspect of our operation help the end user, and how does it serve this community better.
Being committed to this food hub evolution, we're committed to finding that solution and working towards a solution, even though we might make mistakes, even though there might be some challenges that we can't foresee. But we believe that it's the best thing that we can offer Rochester with the millions and millions and millions of dollars of food-related assets that we have. And we believe we're the best organization to do it.